you very much. Thank you very much. You may be seated, please. The difficult questions for us now. While our students settle down, we will pray, as is customary to us, in our individual feet in 1 minute to commit this program into the hands of the Almighty. 1 minute, and we pray now.
Good morning, everybody. Now, it is a privilege to welcome our visitors to our meeting. I think I will start by introducing my people, and I will call on my sister who has been in touch with me all along to introduce the other people. We have managing staff here, the person of the University of Nigeria, Dr. Joshua Magidi. Then we have the Dean of Faculty of Science and the person of Professor Adeyemi. We also have Professor Ajayi. Then we have Professor Mayele. Faculty of Science too. And then we have many HODs with us. And then we have the Dean of Students seated with us. On behalf of the University Management, the Vice Chancellor, the Senate of this University, I welcome our visitor from US University Public Affairs Unit. I got their letter that they will be visiting us to enlighten us about opportunities available in the United States. Some of these opportunities are academic in nature, and then we also have some other cultural opportunities that we can take advantage of. By the time they will finish with us, I'm sure we will know more about why we are here. The reason is simple: to be open up our minds and our understanding about these opportunities. And we believe that many of us will take advantage of today to make more, to take those opportunities. Thank you very much.
Mr. Introduction, and we take it from there.
Thank you, and good morning. Deputy Vice Chancellor, I want to thank you for welcoming us so warmly here to the Federal University of Lokoja. It is my first time to Lokoja. Which, as my colleague and I were discussing on the way down here, is surprising because it is so close, honestly, to Abuja. But it gives me great pleasure to be here with all of you today, and I wanted to start with some introductions. My name is Larry Soja. I am the Cultural Affairs Officer at the Embassy of the United States in Abuja. As you know, U.S. Mission Nigeria has really two offices, let's say. The Embassy in Abuja and the Consulate General in Lagos. And our job in the Public Affairs section is outreach. And a large part of that outreach is to you, students of Nigeria. And so as the Cultural Affairs Officer, I am joined by an incredible team to work with and to engage and to move forward together with students across Nigeria. Part of that team is Adiran Adegoke, who is a Cultural Affairs Specialist. Adiran. He is our Mandela Washington Fellowship and Young African Leaders Initiative Coordinator. If those are terms or phrases you're not familiar with, I encourage you to visit the Embassy's website at ng.usembassy.gov or at yali.state.gov, and you will learn all about Diran's work here in Nigeria and the work of his colleagues, hundreds of thousands of them, part of the Yali network across the continent. The Yali network is an incredible group of people dedicated to the future of Africa as young readers. And so I encourage you to research and to join that network, which Diran does such a great job of leading here in Nigeria. I want to also introduce Malate and Atajiri. Malate is an education advisor within the Office of Education USA, which is the official source of information on study and opportunities in the United States at colleges and universities across our country. She is an incredible resource, and it is her expertise that we are primarily here today to share with you about study opportunities after your investment here at Federal University Lokoja, graduate degrees and other opportunities in the United States. Lastly, I want to introduce the leader of the Public Affairs section, the Counselor for Public Affairs at the Embassy in Abuja, Mr. Aruna Amartanayagan. Aruna is a senior member of the Foreign Service. He is a career Foreign Service officer. He leads the Public Affairs section in Abuja, but has served around the world in posts such as La Paz, Bolivia, in Nairobi, Kenya, and in Singapore, as well as jobs in other posts and serving as the Deputy Chief of Mission at our mission in Barbados as well, in addition to jobs in Washington, D.C., where the headquarters of the State Department is. But with that, I really again want to say thank you to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, to the other members of the administration, to the HMVs, and to you, the students. I have to be honest and say that after 3 years in Nigeria, I am ashamed that it is only here in my last couple months that I am visiting this great city that has so much history. I used to teach secondary school. I used to teach high school in the United States, and I had this weird way of asking my freshman students, these young kids who are 13 or 14 years old, as we talked about history and government, which I taught, and we talked about geography, and I said, you know, what is your favorite geographic feature? And they'd come up with things like volcanoes, or the weird kid in the class would say underwater mountains or something. But I always said that my favorite geographic feature was rivers. Because rivers were always flowing, always moving. And I have to tell you that Lokoja, although it's our first visit here, it comes up in conversation a lot, especially with our ambassador, whose greetings I extend to you, Ambassador Stuart Simonton, who often talks about Lokoja as being the St. Louis of Nigeria. That place in Nigeria where the two rivers come together, like the Missouri and the Mississippi come together in the United States. He often talks about the importance of Lokoja where the Benue and the Niger come together. So this has long been a place of exchange and a place of ideas. So it gives us great pleasure to be here today. And with that, I want to introduce, for a couple words of introduction, the leader of the Public Affairs section, Mr. Aruna Amartanayagan.
Thanks very much, Larry, and Deputy Vice Chancellor, all of the other distinguished guests here today. It's really a pleasure to be with you all this morning. Like Larry, this is actually my first visit to Lokoja, and it's really been wonderful to get such a warm welcome. I've been in Nigeria for about a year and a half, and I think I've been to about 16 states now in Nigeria, so I'm hoping to emulate our ambassador, Stuart Simonton, who has been to all 26 states. So that's certainly, a worthy goal. But I must say, Lokoja being so close to Abuja, I'm sure this will not be my last visit, and I'm really excited to be here. As Larry mentioned, I lead a great team both in Abuja and Lagos, whose mission is to foster relations between the U.S. and Nigeria in many different arenas. Education is certainly a key area for us. The United States prides itself on having a wonderful educational system. I think we have something like 70 universities in the U.S. that are ranked in the top 200 in the world. We have more than 3,000 tertiary institutions that are really thrive on having a diverse student body. We really encourage Nigerian students to come and study in the United States. I think we have about close to 12,000 Nigerian students currently in the U.S., the most of any country in Africa. And I think it's a source of great strength for us and for our relationship between Nigeria and the United States. It's certainly a very close relationship that our two countries have enjoyed over the years. I mean, the fact that our two presidents met just last week in Washington, I think, is an indication of how much we value this relationship. Nigeria, after all, is the most populous country in Africa with one of the strongest economies on the continent, and certainly a country that has a lot of strategic importance for the United States. We also share very warm people-to-people ties. We have a huge diaspora of Nigerians living in the United States, and we have many Americans, I think about 100,000 American citizens living in Nigeria. So it's a relationship that we're going to continue to foster, and whatever we can do in the public affairs section to help you understand more about the United States and the opportunities that are there, especially in education, we'll be happy to do so. And I think my team today, Malape and Nigerian from Education USA, and then Dara Nagoke, who runs our Mandela Washington Fellows program, they will be here to answer specific questions and to give you more information. So once again, it's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for welcoming me.
Thank you, sir. Okay, the introductions are done. We want to go straight into the interactive session. Would that be okay? Okay, please let's welcome our team. Please put your hands together.
Good morning, everyone. It's so great to be at your school. This is my first time also here in Okoja, so thank you so much for giving us such a wonderful welcome. So one of the things that we're here to talk to you about are about the opportunities that are available for you, especially for your graduate school in the U.S. How many people know what STEM stands for? I'm in the Faculty of Science. People here should know what STEM stands for. Okay, some root spring happening. But STEM actually stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And for people who graduate with degrees that fall under one of these categories, especially, there are a lot of opportunities for you to go and do your graduate study in the U.S. Schools are looking for people that are talented, people that add diversity and will add value to their campus. So they're looking for students, and there is funding available to help you finance your studies in the U.S. So one of the things that we do at Education USA is that we work with individuals or students who are interested in pursuing their graduate study in the U.S., whether it's your master's or whether it's your PhD or whether it's even your bachelor's degree. Some people are not aware that in the US, you can actually get straight into a PhD program with just a bachelor's degree. In the US, you don't have to have a master's degree before applying into a PhD program. And a number of our successful students have gone straight into a PhD program with just their Nigerian bachelor's degree. So what does it take for you to go to the US to study? We practice a holistic admissions policy. So what that means is that we not only look at quantitative information about you, so things like your GPA. Is your GPA calculated over 5 or over 7? Excellent. So we are looking for people that have a strong GPA over 5. So that's quantitative data. There are also certain standardized exams that you would need to take, and everybody needs to take that exam. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Nigerian or whether you're an American. It's a standardized exam that schools need to know how prepared you are for graduate school. And that exam, most times, is the GRE exam. And doing well in standardized tests shows schools how strong of a candidate you are. And it also lets schools know on a global scale how well you rank. So when you're giving me your 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 GPA from Federal University of Lokoja, and you have a first class, it will let me know how well your first class ranks on a global scale. So doing well in GRE is extremely important. We also want you to know Nigeria is an English-speaking country. Why do I need to prove that I can speak English? So TOEFL is also one of the standardized tests that you would need to do well in. But as I mentioned earlier, we not only look at quantitative information, we also look at qualitative information. And that is where your stories, your experiences, and what your professors have to say about you add a lot of context to your application. So you would need to get recommendation letters from professors or lecturers or people that you have worked closely with, who can talk about your intellectual ability, who can talk about how independent you are in terms of research, and you will also have to say something about yourself. So you would need to also write a statement of purpose. What have been your experiences so far? What project have you worked on? What was your undergraduate thesis on? What questions were you left still wanting to ask? And what do you hope to achieve at that particular school that you're applying to? So all these factors are things that will come together to form your application package to school. So there's so many funding opportunities, like I mentioned, out there available, especially for people that have a degree in STEM. And one of the unique programs that we have at the embassy is called the Opportunity Funds Program. So with the Opportunity Funds Program, what we look out for are high-achieving, low-income students, and we help them with not only the application process in terms of putting together their statement of purpose, getting them prepared to do well and be successful in the GRE and the TOEFL exam. We also finance the application process. So for those that are selected for this program, we pay for their application fees, we pay for them to take the GRE and the TOEFL, and even when they're successful and they have the full funding to go to the US, some families cannot even afford the flight ticket to go. So we also fund their flight ticket to go to the US. So one of the main things I want to let you know today is that there's so many opportunities available for people that are high-achieving students, and finances should not be a barrier for you because there are programs available at the embassy to help you finance your graduate study in the US. So the applications actually opened on April 1st, and the applications are going to close June 30th. And I strongly encourage you to apply, those that are in your final year. Those that are not in your final year, this is something to look forward to because the program is also going to be available again in subsequent years.
Basically, these regional leadership centers have a design program that range from 4 weeks to 6 weeks, and they train young Africans in the areas of public management, civic leadership, that has to do with everything from non-for-profit to advocacy and social work, and then business and entrepreneurship. And then there's the flagship program of the Whole Yali Network Initiative, which is the Mandela Washington Fellowship. This takes place in the US. About this year, we'll be having 28 institutes play host to 700 Africans, 60 of which will be Nigerians, the largest population amongst the participating countries. For the next 6 weeks, they get to go on this program from the middle of June into the first week in August. They get to train also in the areas of public management, civic leadership, and business and entrepreneurship. They also get to be exposed to networks of business leaders, civil society leaders within the US. The whole idea is for young Africans to have an idea of how these things work in the US and learn a few lessons that they can put to practice in their own individual domestic countries, which is why there is also a little clause attached to the whole selection process in that if you get to go on the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, then for the next 2 years they expect that you be resident in the country to put to practice your learning. That said, I'm sure a number of you will be wondering, how do I get to go on this program? Application for the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program opens usually middle of September and closes by middle to end of October. During this application, everything is done virtually online. You fill a form, you write 6 program essays on why you want to go on the exchange, what you're doing, and what you plan to do when you return from the exchange rotation before you go on the program. For the regional leadership centers, the application is a revolving application. It opens every quarter. So once every quarter, they open applications, and you also get to write similar programs, essays on what you're doing to address a social need within your community, what you plan to do when you return from, what you hope to learn and what you plan to do when you return from the program. All this is pretty important to you because you're here on campus doing a lot of learning. Part of the reasons why you're on campus is such that you are able to identify a need and develop yourself towards meeting that need. And these kind of opportunities also provide you with the learning experience that you need to be able to even do greater and better when you get into the society out there. So perhaps you're not yet familiar with the YALI initiative. I would say please go again to yali.state.gov, read more about it, take YALI courses, and then as time goes by, see which of the trainings you are best prepared, are suited to apply, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I am sure we've all been listening. It's time to take a few questions. So if you do have questions to ask, please just signify by raising up your hand. And then
my name is Sandy Adeobi. I'm the Dean, Faculty of Science. I'm so pleased and I want to thank the U.S. Education US for this wonderful opportunity. Especially glad because the closing date, one of the closing dates for June 2018, and she has given a lot of requirements. You have the GRE, the graduate record examination, the TOEFL, recommendation letter, and so on. My question is, will all this be required before the closing of June 20? And then, well, for a postgraduate, master's and PhD, do you also require a TOEFL? Because I'm aware that TOEFL is for undergraduate academic work. But do you also require for those going for PhD, master's? Then the other question is, do you also have opportunities for staff members, academic staff members, because I've not had anything, maybe 1 month, 2 weeks, 3 months opportunity for exchange to go and see some best practices. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so let me just answer that one question and then maybe I'll give it up to one of my colleagues to add anything. So in terms of going to the US to study, one thing we tell people is it is a process. We say that there are 5 steps you need to go through in order for you to be successful with your dreams of going to the US to study. The first step is for you to actually research your options in terms of figuring out what school do you want to go to. There are about 5,000 accredited institutions in the US, and not all of them are going to have your program or your specific research interest. So the first step is to research what you want to do and what school actually offers that. Then the second step is important. We need to figure out our finances. Are we going to be looking for graduate funding or scholarships, or are we going to be paying for us to go to school? Then the third step is going to be for us to complete our applications, getting everything together in terms of our GRE, our TOEFL, our applications. Then the fourth step is to apply for our student visa, and then finally, bye-bye Nigeria, we're off to the US for 2 years for our master's or 3 to 5 years for our PhD. For applying to schools in the US, typically the deadline for schools is around November, December, January. So for people that will be going into school this year, meaning August 2018, they already finished all their applications by December 2017. So it typically takes about 9 months to go through the entire process from step 1 all the way to step 5. So applying early is extremely important. The June 30th deadline that I mentioned is not the deadline to apply to school in the US. Is the deadline to be selected for the Opportunity Funds Program, where staff from Education USA work with you on your application, financing your application process in hopes of you getting a full scholarship to go to the US to study. So I hope that clarifies that question with regards to deadlines. TOEFL is something that is extremely important for schools to be able to know your English proficiency. At the graduate level, when you get a funding, it comes in the form of an assistantship or a job. So it's either you're going to be a teaching assistant, meaning that as a chemistry PhD student at XYZ school, you're going to be helping in teaching or facilitating the undergraduate chemistry class. Or you're going to be helping a professor do his research or her research, and in exchange for the assistance that you're giving to that particular department, the school is going to waive your tuition for your PhD program, and they may or may not pay you a stipend to help with some of your living expenses. So the school needs to be sure beyond any reasonable doubt that you have no issues at all communicating in English. So that is why schools require you to have the test of English proficiency in order for them to award those assistantship positions for you. In regards to opportunities for professors and lecturers, we definitely have a lot of exchange programs at the embassy. We have opportunities like the Fulbright exchange program. We also have the IVLP programs as well, International Business Leadership Program. So I would definitely encourage you to go to our embassy website and just take a look at all the different exchange programs that we have available and see which ones you may qualify for and definitely apply.
Thank you, Malate. I just wanted to add a couple words on professional development for staff members. As Malate mentioned, there are over 20 different exchange programs that we, through U.S. Mission Nigeria, are able to host. Diron brings up the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, which is a large part of that, 60 individuals who, mid-June, will head to the United States. But we do have a number of other programs, especially those who are in the middle of their careers, let's say. The Fulbright program and the Humphrey program are both open application programs, and that open application season is open until June 1st. So again, if you go on the embassy's website, you can learn more about the Fulbright program, which can be used both for study in the United States as well as teaching in the United States, or the Humphrey program, which is geared both to academia but also to careers outside of academia, for individuals who are working in business or other careers, which might be of interest. So there's an open season for those right now until June 1st. Some of the other programs like IVLP, which was mentioned, the International Visitor Leadership Program, those are programs that are not for open applications. Rather, you get nominated by different officers from the embassy. That's why it's so important, and it gives us great pleasure to be here today, because through exchanges like these, and by us coming here to Lokoja, we're able to get to know the administration better, the students better, and to find individuals like yourselves who would be good fits for these other exchange programs. So again, it's great to be here, and I hope that some of these resources will at least be pointing you in the right direction to find them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Can we take more questions? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Okay, please, can you come forward? I think it would be nice if you come to the podium, please. Yes, please come. The 5 of you, just 5 hours, so we can... Would you prefer to attend to each question as they come, or you just take them all? Okay. Please, your questions, just try to make them as precise as possible. Just ask a question, no too many stories. Thank you very much. Your name, your department, and then your question.
Thank you. My name is Rukol Tuchukwuemeka. I'm a graduate of History and Strategic Studies, and my graduates are known professors in history. I heard about the education university offer, and I started my application, but I'm just looking for a recommendation letter from my company. However, I got confused when she mentioned GRE for other disciplines, because what I saw there is that GRE is only for engineering students. That's on the page. So I don't know. And then transcript as well. My university, they need to pay a sum. Since it's going to be a foreign scholarship, you need to pay 35,000 for each process. I'm currently on my national service, so I think I will need an outline on how to go about that. Then for YALI, I applied for YALI, Young African Leaders on Washington Fellowship last year, but I wasn't selected. So I want to ask, what are the criteria for selection and for participating in the cohort programs and regional outreach programs? Thank you.
Okay, the next question.
All protocol duly observed. My name is Habibat.
Michael.
All protocol duly observed. My name is Habibat from the Department of the lady that spoke talked about strong CGPA, and from her speech, I learned that strong CGPA is basically for first class. The guy mentioned in first class, I want to know what specification of CGPA we are looking for. Secondly, I would like to know what opportunity is made available for arts and humanities, specifically the English and literary studies department. Thank you.
I'm by name Ibrahim Aladi from the local department of mathematical science. My question is very short. I want to be clear. Is this program for those who are going first class? Is this scholarship program meant to be for others too?
My name is Eric Polani Sylvester, from the Department of Mathematical Sciences. My question is this program for students on 4 points or second class or student?
Good morning. My name is Ijon Michael Owagu, a student of English and Literary Studies. My question had already been asked by Habiba Yakubu. I wanted to know the opportunities available for students of English especially. Then I wanted to be sure about, is it only for first class students?
Thank you. Okay.
So let me just, since I have the easiest lift amongst the questions, let me just go first and then first, my apologies that you weren't selected. I encourage you to try again. The criteria for selection is pretty much stated in the application. There's an age criteria, usually 25 to 35. Then, depending on the track you are applying to, public management, entrepreneurship, there's a general trend of what we try to look out for. So for instance, for business people, we are not looking at people who are seeking to go on this program just to better their business. We are looking for people who are seeking to go on this program to see how their business can better the environment. Because the whole, and when I speak to environment, I mean the society, not necessarily just renewable energy and cleaner environments and environmental issues. But irrespective of the track that you're applying to, we would like to see a track record of what you are already doing to make a positive impact in your environment or in your society, and how what you are doing would scale up after you return to make even a bigger impact upon your return. That's basically what we look out for. Now, sometimes there are people who meet this criteria who still don't get. For instance, this year we received 11,000 applications for just 60 slots. Naturally, some of the good guys would fall by the wayside because we just don't have the space to accommodate you. So again, I encourage you to please apply next year. As long as you're qualified, please apply, because we've seen people who didn't make it the first year until probably the second or third time they were applying. So keep applying and keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully something good will come your way. Thank you. Yes, the age limit is 25 minimum, 35 maximum. Once you exceed 35, we will encourage you to apply for other programs such as the Humphrey program and other exchange programs that are not age restricted. But this is restricted towards young Africans. And the definition of youth is 25 to 35 by the standards of this program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for all your very interesting questions. So just quickly, the GRE requirement on the Opportunity Funds application website is only for engineering students. That is the criteria that we just recently added to just help us refine the process of selecting engineering students. However, it is a recommendation and it's optional, it's not a requirement. So if you have taken GRE before and you want to include that as part of your application, feel free to do that. However, it is just recommended and it is not a requirement for you to apply for the Opportunity Funds program. In terms of the question about sending a transcript to us, you're going to be sending a transcript to the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, so that will be considered sending a transcript locally and not internationally. In terms of what is the GPA requirement, we do not have a minimum GPA requirement, and that's why I mentioned earlier that the program is for high-achieving students. I know that most of you probably got this flyer saying, are you a first-class graduate? So the irony is the person on the flyer, his name is Uche. He actually graduated with a 2-2 in physics from the University of Jos, and right now he's doing his PhD at Auburn University. So one thing that we're looking for people that are determined and people that are driven, and that's why doing well in GRE is extremely important. If you have a 2-2 but you're able to give me 330 out of 340 in the GRE exam, for example, then schools are willing to not necessarily overlook your GPA, but a GRE, for example, is more in line with the global standard. And that's why I mentioned that what we look for in an application is a holistic package. So we don't only look at one particular thing like your GPA, we take all these different factors into account, not only when we're selecting people for the Opportunity Funds program, but those are the same factors that schools take into account when they're thinking of the students that they want to admit, as well as the students that they would want to give some form of graduate funding or assistance to. So I think I've answered all the questions. Oh yes, opportunities for people that are not in the STEM field. The reason why we mention STEM a lot, for example, is because that's the area where there's a lot of research happening, so there's a lot of funding available. But that doesn't mean that we do not have funding in any other field in the US. Last year, one of our students that went off to the US, Daniel Agbaji, he studied library science. and he's currently doing his fully funded PhD at Emporia State University, and he studied library science. So just because you're not in the STEM field doesn't necessarily mean that there are no opportunities available for you out there in the US. And that's why step one that I mentioned is extremely important. You need to do your research. You need to figure out what schools have the research interest that you're after, and what schools have some form of funding available to give to you. So yes, there are opportunities for people out there in the sciences and as well as people out there in the arts for them to go and do their graduate study in the US.
I'll give a little more hope to the humanities students among you as well. So one part of the Fulbright program is something called the Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant. These are teaching assistants who go to the United States, so they're Fulbright scholars or students, and they teach the language that they speak back home. So Hausa or Yoruba or that language at dozens of universities across the United States. So that is one thing. If you are in the linguistics faculty or the English faculty, you're interested in teaching, that is one avenue through which you might be interested in participating in one of these exchange programs. I also want to mention too that the YALI hub here in Lokoja is a fantastic way for you to stay in touch with the embassy and to kind of raise your profile with the embassy through your work and your action. One of the open calls we have, again, on the embassy website right now is something called the Notice of Funding Opportunity, or the Annual Program Statement. This is federal assistance. This is U.S. taxpayer dollars that are available to Nigerians, individuals, and organizations for special projects. Maybe you've got a writers club here at the University of Lokoja that you want to get a couple more resources for so you can attract a larger membership. Maybe there's an American author in the United States, maybe a part of the Nigerian diaspora who's operating now in the United States, who you want to bring here to Nigeria to speak to that writers club that you're organizing here at the university. Those are all valid and good ideas, and ideas that promote the relationship between Nigeria and the United States. And you should submit those ideas through this Notice of Funding Opportunity. We have finances available from $5,000 to $50,000 to support your different projects and your different ideas. It's competitive. We receive scores, if not hundreds of applications during the course of the year. But it is a mechanism through which your good idea can be selected. So that's another way you can apply or bring your ideas to the attention of the U.S. Embassy. Also through the YALI group, I do want to mention too that there are a number of different exchanges that are kind of one-off exchanges. Very specialized, but something that if English is your passion and writing is your passion, or another humanitarian, a humanities area is your passion. There are programs like the Iowa Writers Program, which for the past 2 years we've been able to send a Nigerian to the prestigious program in Iowa as a fellowship to work on their writing. We'll again the second year in a row be sending someone, a filmmaker, so those of you who are interested in film, to the University of Southern California to participate in a summer workshop out there. So there are a number of different opportunities. You have the embassy website, you have all of our different social media, Facebook and Twitter, Education USA, and the YALI website as well. Get to know us better. Spend 30 minutes clicking around the website, looking at the different opportunities that are available, and I think you'll be well rewarded. Thank you.
So we still take just 2 more reactions. All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Okwiyado Okwiyado. I teach English here. This is not exactly a question, but a little response to the one that I will say. First, I will want to explicitly mention that this is quite heartwarming that you, as very special guests, thinking much about us, not just thinking about our immediate, but even for our future, because the students are very much getting our collective future as a team. So we really thank you for this initiative. I'm only reacting upon what we have all observed about the 5 of the students who came out. Have something in common from all their reactions. You see, there is this feeling of, let's say, maybe a little discouragement. Am I qualified? Can I be qualified? Where am I to be qualified? And it is upon this platform I want to make this appeal for your consideration. Now, I teach here, and if you ask me, I know we have very good students with the potential to be anything in the world. Okay, but this is in the midst of great struggle. The challenge of how to even graduate is there. Now, where are we going to get these students who have first class and then come to this program from? And I know that you are very serious and very, you want students to come and qualify. So, again, not trying to say please lower your requirement or standard. I'm not saying so. But I am not trying, let us use it together as concerned.
We're running for the national anthem.